This will be the 16th meeting between the Alabama Crimson Tide and Texas A&M Aggies. Alabama leads the all-time series 12-3, and the Tide have been successful as the road team in this series, winning 5 of their 6 matchups at Kyle Field. In last year's matchup in Bryant-Denny, Jalen Milroe threw 3 touchdown passes and gained 107 yards on the ground. Milroe's 29-yard touchdown pass to Ja'Cory Brooks in the third quarter was the difference, as it put Alabama up 24-14. With a score 24-20, Texas A&M had a chance to win it on the final play of the game from the 2-yard line, but Terrion Arnold had tight coverage on the A&M receiver, and the Tide held on for the win. This season, Texas A&M enters the contest unranked at 4-1. The Aggies have non-conference wins over New Mexico and Louisiana Monroe.
Touchdown Aggies!
Texas A&M also has 2 SEC wins, a 27-10 win at home over Auburn in Week 4, and a 34-22 win over the Arkansas Razorbacks last week at AT&T Stadium, the home of the Dallas Cowboys. Texas A&M's lone loss came in Week 2 at the hands of the Miami Hurricanes. Former Crimson Tide offensive line coach Mario Cristobal led the Hurricanes to a 48-33 win over the Aggies in Miami Gardens. Jimbo Fisher is in his 6th year as head coach of the Texas A&M program. Fisher is one of just 5 active head coaches to have won a national championship. Against Coach Saban and the Crimson Tide, Fisher is 1-5 all-time, and against former assistants, Coach Saban is 29-3 all-time. The Aggies have a new offensive coordinator in former Arkansas and Louisville head coach Bobby Petrino. They also have a new quarterback. Starter Connor Wegman was injured in the win over Auburn, and former LSU quarterback Max Johnson has now taken over. The Tide has faced Johnson twice, both times at LSU. Alabama won both of those matchups, with the last being a 20-14 win back in 2021, as the Tide sacked Johnson 5 times and picked off 1 pass. In last week's start against the Razorbacks, Johnson completed 17 of 28 passes for 210 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he did have 3 second-half turnovers. Johnson threw an interception and had 2 fumbles that led to 2 Razorback touchdowns and a field goal. On defense, Texas A&M has the top unit in the SEC. The Aggies allow 253 yards per game. That's 44 less than the Crimson Tide. The Aggies' D has given up more points than Alabama, though. The Tide averages allowing just over 14 points per game, while the Aggies allow almost 19. It may be tough running for the Crimson Tide offense on Saturday, as the Aggies are 3rd in the SEC in rush defense, allowing just 96 yards per game. Texas A&M has also been good at defending the pass, ranking 2nd in the league behind Florida, allowing just 157 yards per game. The Crimson Tide offensive line will have their hands full on Saturday. In their 2 SEC games this season, the Aggies defense has combined for 14 sacks and 30 tackles for loss.
I think we got to do a much better job of having a firm pocket and protecting the quarterback against really good pass rushers. And I also think, it's important that we get the ball out of our hand on time so that we don't give them an opportunity to affect us. So it's really a combination of both, and it's a combination of the receivers getting open, playing fast so that we can make quick decisions about what we do and how we get rid of the ball.
One area the Tide does have an advantage is turnovers. Texas A&M has committed 7 turnovers on the year and is next to last in the SEC in turnover margin at -4, while the Crimson Tide is tied for 2nd at +4. For the 2nd time this season, Alabama will be a part of the SEC on CBS Game of the Week. Kickoff is set for 2:30 in Bryan, College Station, Texas. The weather looks to be great for kickoff on Saturday, with partly cloudy skies and a high of 73 degrees. Reporting from the Crimson Tide production studio inside Bryant-Denny Stadium, I'm Christopher England with Tide TV.